How's it going, everybody? Been a while since the last video I made like this. I thought since y'all loved that video so much at the time, I would make another one letting you know how I got to Grand Champ and with even better and more maturely developed tips. I had a lot of feedback on the last video and I want to thank y'all for all of that. Please, if you want, go down and hit that subscribe button and like the video. But with that out of the way, please enjoy the second installment of the series. Alright, bringing on a fresh new video with tip numero uno is recovering. I can't quite remember if I mentioned this in the last video, but I don't think I did, so here it is. Being able to recover after a bad challenge or a bad decision is always number one in my book of being able to win a game of Rocket League. If you can't recover, you can't play with your team. Being able to stay in the play after a bad challenge or a bad 50 that left you awkward is the entire reason you cannot get out of champ. Oh, well, I thought we agreed not to show that, dude. What the hell? Alright, well, whatever that was, we're gonna move on from that. On to tip number 2, which is aerial control. Now, one big thing that you'll see most pro players doing nowadays that they didn't really do a lot back in the day, and that most lower ranks are copying now, is the fact that they are not air rolling a lot. Air roll has become kind of redundant. The difference between using a lot of air roll and a little air roll is pretty big, in the way that you don't waste as much boost and you are in more control of your car that way. Now, some of y'all, like me, have always been using air roll no matter what. Every time you go in the air, you're air rolling to the ball, and you've gotten used to that. But the big thing nowadays is to use air roll as little as possible to save the boost in the air so that you have more to challenge and or do more with the ball mechanically if you're inclined to do so. Now, here's the point in the video where I felt as if it should be probably important that I say that these tips are more for plat and above ranked players. So if you're below those ranks, then these tips will still work for you, but they may not be as helpful because your skill level is not quite to the level that these tips are for. But after saying that, we will move on to tip number 3, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important tips on this list. It is opponent awareness. Opponent awareness is one of the biggest things, because if you don't know where your opponents are at, you don't know what place to run, and you don't know what to do if you're by yourself with the ball, or if you're trying to get a passing play off. You don't know if that opponent's mid to block that passing play or not. So this is a huge thing that people should take control of and take control of in their games. So how do you do this, you may be asking? Well, little one, I shall teach you right now. The number 1 tip to opponent awareness is to use that little button that you have assigned that lets you look around. Now look, I know in the game of Rocket League, nobody uses the button that helps you look around. Everybody is only using the button that makes them boost. But I'm telling you, if you want to reach Grand Champ or higher, or even just Champ or higher, you have to use that button that helps you look around. Whatever you have it assigned as, use that button and use your reverse button. You have to use your reverse camera to know if an opponent is behind you or not. This is the best way to get prepared or dodge a demo. If you know you're about to be demoed or they're trying to go for a demo on you, then you can correctly prepare for that and or dodge it so you keep the play going and possibly get the opponents out of position. But moving on from that tip, another big one that starts off as soon as you click that play button on Rocket League at the start of the day is your free play style of play. Now, what I mean when I say this is not when you go into free play, just go as fast as you can, going up the walls, blah, 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 blah. That's actually exactly what I'm not saying you should do. What you shouldn't do is immediately get into free play, get behind the ball at midfield, and take it up the wall and go for a flip reset double tap. The first thing you shouldn't do is get behind the ball and go for a triple flip reset. Now look, everybody's different in how they get warmed up. So if how you get warmed up is warming up your mechanics like a freestyler, then go ahead and do that. But most people don't get warmed up like that. If you're genuinely taking this game seriously and trying to get warmed up before a game, my best thing and best tip to give you is just play some casual first. Usually, if you've played casual enough, your casual MMR will be just about the same as your ranked MMR. You'll be playing people that are around the same skill level or even higher than you. So take that to your advantage and play a couple casual matches or just one, and then do a little bit of free play where you work on your recoveries and you work on your speed and you work on some mechanics, and then you just want to just boom, go right into it. Because after you've worked on that stuff, there's no more warming up. You are warmed up. You can't just sit in free play for 35 minutes doing flip resets from the corner wall and expect you to get better at flip resets. That's not how that works. But after that tip, we reach probably the most important tip on this entire list. Now, look, I know I've said that the last two tips were important, but this one might actually be the most important on this entire list. This tip is what single-handedly got me to GC and could probably get you to GC on its own, and it is to watch those better than you. Now, I'm not saying go and search up Zen on YouTube and go watch Zen and boom, there you go, you're going to be the best player on planet Earth now that you watch Zen once for 10 minutes and now I'm hitting quad resets on fucking first killer and fucking, you know, a toe. But no, that's not what you're going to be doing. What you're going to be doing is, if you're, say, Champ 2, you're going to be watching GC 2. My general belief for this is you need to watch whatever an entire rank set above you is. So if you're Diamond 2, watch Champ 2 gameplay. Champ 2, GC 2. GC 2, SSL. SSL, watch Pro Play or Bubble Play. Either one of those is completely fine if you're SSL. But if you're Champ 3, you probably don't need to be watching Zen or First Killer or Squishy or any of those people to get better. That's not the way to do it. The best way to do it is, if you're Champ 3, watch GC 3 or watch GC 2. Watch one of those, because that's a skill level you can comprehend. If you are GC 1, say, you're not going to be able to comprehend the amount of skill and speed that it takes to be at a pro level like Zen or Rawas or people like that. You're just not going to be able to comprehend it yet. Now, when you're SSL and you are almost to that speed, then you can go and watch those players and learn how that speed is acquainted into the game and it is pulled out from their controller and put onto their car. Other than that, you should not be C3 watching Zen and being like, oh, holy fuck, I'm going to be the best player ever. Like, that's not how it's gonna work, and it's not how it's ever gonna work. So at this point, if you're C3, watch some GC2 or GC3 gameplay. There's plenty of it out there on YouTube, and it's probably the best thing to do for your skill level. Now, after that, tip number 6 is going to be about rotational aspects of the game. Tip number 6 is going to be follow rotation of the boost pads. And when I say follow rotation of the boost pads, 90% of y'all are going to say, oh yeah, I do that all the damn time. I follow the rotation of the boost pads literally every time I play the game. I'm not talking about your big boost pads. I'm not talking about the big boosts in the corner that you take literally every 5 seconds of the game. I'm talking about the pennies on the ground. Now, if you look carefully in the video in the background, you'll see how the pennies are laid out across the field. And this will play into the next tip, but as you can see, they're in that curved pattern, which is a lot of the time how your car is moving. So, follow the rotation of those pennies when it suits your rotational needs. Now look here, you see the rotation right here. My teammate right there took the rotation of the pennies to come back into that play, so he had boost 1, and 2 could follow up, and he could shadow defend if he needed to. You see there, I did not follow the direction of the pennies. I was off to the side and in between both of them, and that led to us getting scored on because that shot was indirectly on that penny. So as you can see, rotating on the pennies is one of the best things you can possibly do, whether or not there's an awkward 50 or an awkward challenge that leaves you out of the net and more or less unable to defend at all. And as I said, that will play into tip number 7, which is stay behind your teammate, not to the side or the middle. And what I mean when I say that is you say that your teammate is going up on a play on the left side of the field, following in between the pennies and the big boost. Okay. Now say that you're going up midfield because you're either getting ready for a pass, 2, a 50 that goes in favor of your teammate, or 3, a whiff from the opponent that allows you to score. Those are 3 things you're betting on. There's a 33.3% chance that one of those things happens. And there is a 33.3% chance that none of those things happen. So you have to look at it in a way that gives you the best possible chance in that situation. Now, the best thing that gives you the best chance is to stay behind your teammate. And I'm not saying it is ass, obviously. Stay behind your teammate to a point where you can be ready for a pass, or you can be ready for a 50 that doesn't go your teammate's way, and you can still be behind your teammate for shadow defense if a 50 gets really bad. If a 50 gets really bad and it goes flying above your head, you have a chance to shadow the ball and play defense still, instead of being midfield and having an awkward position to the ball. Because if you have that awkward position to the ball, you're not under it and any play can happen there. If a teammate comes over from the side of you that you don't know is there, that has been downfield, he can demo you out of the air and boom, a goal. But here, you know that both players are in front of you or behind you and that you're shadowing this play. So that is the best way to play behind your teammate. Now, the second to last tip that I have for y'all, tip number 8, is don't hesitate. This is the one thing I cannot stand when I am playing solo or in just, any kind of match where a teammate of mine will go for a ball, go up in the air, or think that they're going up in the air and sit there, move back and forth, and then say, nah, I'm not gonna do it. And this is the biggest thing, which is like, it messes up rotations so bad. You need to stay within a rotation to win a game at a high level. And to do that, you cannot hesitate with the ball, because as soon as you hesitate with the ball, the teammate behind you's rotation is messed up, and now he has to go for the ball, which in most cases, if you're in threes, messes your last man teammate, and he is done. All 3 of y'all are out of it, and you're probably going to get scored on within about the next 5 picoseconds. So it's not the best thing to do, to hesitate. And that's why you just shouldn't do it, is because half the fucking time, it's going to result in a goal. And the most awaited tip, the last tip of the video, tip number 9, which probably is going to be the most controversial tip on this entire list, it is know how to handle the Rocket League cycle. Now, this is an entire different side of the game. It is all mental. The Rocket League cycle is something I like to call you rage, you lose, you win. Now, the only way I can describe how this works is by putting it on screen. So I'll splash it on screen right here. Boom. There you go. So what this means is you have this circle of things that happens whenever you play Rocket League, and that would be stuff like you get on the game, you feel really good, and then you just absolutely eat shit. You lose the first 5 games you play in ranked, you go down a rank, and then there's the winning part of it. You win a few games, and then you keep going, and you just get better and better. And then there's the rage, which goes along with the losing. But that is the tip video, and I really hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe. See ya!